We want to hold on to many pieces of our lives that we find so much comfort in, so much pleasure. And we think by looking at those things that we can find the satisfaction that we know can only come from Christ. So God, I pray that as we worship you this morning, as we hear your word, that you would move our hearts and our minds to a place, God, where we are willing to lay it all down. That we would see Jesus as the most satisfying and as the one that can only bring us true everlasting hope, because we can find hope that's temporal in so many things. God, I pray that we would look to Jesus and would see the cross as our only rescue, as our only hope, as the thing that we can put everything on that can bear the weight. It's in Christ's name that we pray and that we ask these things. Amen. You have a seat.
Morning, Tara. My name is Daniel. Some of you know me. Some of you may not. I'm the location pastor up in Saratoga Springs, so it's good to be with you here this morning preaching as we continue on in Luke's Gospel. And we'll be in chapter 22 today. And if you don't have a Bible, just put up your hand and someone from the back will be around to give you a Bible to use this morning. We're making our way along through Luke's Gospel. We've been here a while, and we actually, I think, have 6 weeks, give or take, to go before we conclude. And so enjoy it while we're here, because I know you're going to miss it once we're done. So can't help but have some nostalgia when you've been in a book for this long after you've finished it. So we're in Luke 22, verses 47 through 53, and today we're going to look at the betrayal and the arrest of Jesus. And we find Jesus right now in the middle of what in later Christian history has been termed Passion Week or Holy Week. It's this week-long period of time starting from when Jesus entered into Jerusalem on a donkey to a week later, the following Sunday, in which we see him rising from the dead. And we find ourselves a little bit past the halfway point, Thursday, late at night. Jesus has already celebrated the Passover after sunset on that Thursday, after sundown, with his disciples, the first Lord's Supper that he instituted. Following that, we recently read through how Jesus retreated to the Garden of Gethsemane, a place that he frequented with his disciples and personally went to pray. And now, finally, in this same scene where he's in the garden, his betrayer and the crowd who's come to arrest him is arriving. It's called Passion Week just because of the passion that we see in Jesus, that he would undergo this suffering for us, to die for us. And one of the events in that chain of suffering that can easily be overlooked is the betrayal. How emotionally difficult must that have been for Jesus? So we'll take a look at that today. If there's a big idea from this passage that we can hopefully take away from our time in the Word today, it would be this. We see Jesus as steadfast in the face of suffering and evil because of his confidence in who God is and in what his purpose was. His confidence in God's character and God's will for him. All right, so we see a steadfastness in Jesus' character through these circumstances, and that in a couple of different instances, we see an incredible mercy that he displays in this passage. We also see steadfastness in his resolve to do God's will, even though he knows that what's coming is his own suffering. And we'll contrast Jesus to two of his disciples that we see in this passage, Judas and Peter. And we'll explore a little bit about what's going on in their own hearts that would lead them to take the actions that they do. Also, just as kind of an upfront explanation, I'm going to be bouncing around quickly between the different gospel accounts of this particular story. So all four of the gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Sorry, let me fix this for a second. All four of the Gospels include this story, and that's not always the case for the different accounts we see in the life of Jesus, but for whatever reason, this one is clearly detailed out in Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. So in Matt's Gospel, it's in chapter 26, Mark's is in chapter 14, Luke, of course, chapter 22, and John, chapter 18. And what that does for us is it actually creates a sort of deleted scenes for us from like a special edition DVD where we get to see more, like a fuller picture of what's going on. And so I'll be referring to some of these other passages as we see different details and perspectives that the gospel writers bring to this account. I want you guys to be thinking through as we read through this passage today, and then as you go into this week, the following question. What beliefs inform your plans, your reactions, and your responses? What are the underlying beliefs in your life that inform the plans that you guys make, the reactions that you find yourself taking in difficult situations, and then the responses that you have? Keep that in mind as we talk through and even look at that in the lives of Peter and Judas and Jesus today. So let's read the passage again. We're in Luke 22, 47 through 53, and then I'll pray and then we'll dig further in. While he was still speaking, there came a crowd, and the man called Judas, one of the 12, was leading them. He drew near to Jesus to kiss him, but Jesus said to him, Judas, would you betray the Son of Man with a kiss? And when those who were around him saw what would follow, they said, Lord, shall we strike with the sword? And one of them struck the servant of the high priest and cut off his right ear. But Jesus said, no more of this. And he touched the ear and he healed him. Then Jesus said to the chief priests and officers of the temple and the elders who had come out against him, have you come out as against a robber with swords and clubs? When I was with you day after day in the temple, you did not lay hands on me. But this is your hour and the power of darkness. Let's pray. Lord, we find ourselves before you again with an opportunity to hear from you through your word. We thank you, Lord, for this time that we get to lay aside the distractions of our lives and come before you with open hearts. And I pray that where our hearts are closed off, Lord, because we're bearing weights and burdens, our hearts are closed off because we've been preoccupied with lesser things, Lord, than the good things that you want us to be attentive to. Lord, we just need your divine help to have ears to hear and hearts to receive what you want us to from your word this morning. And so we pray for that help. And we pray it in Jesus' name and for his glory and for our greater joy too, Father. Amen. Consider for a moment how difficult this betrayal would have been for Jesus. I mean, Judas had been with him for years, for 3 years. They'd shared so much together. Jesus had provided for him. He had shared his teachings with him, and not just teachings generally as he had with the crowds, but he'd also pulled Judas along with the other disciples aside to give them special insight into his parables and other teachings. They journeyed together, they'd ministered together, Jesus had trained him, Jesus had called him friend. And here he is, betraying him. Have you known that kind of betrayal? Have you ever been that close to someone that you never would have seen it coming? When you share that much of your life with someone, you expect them to have your back, not stab you in the back. But this is the situation we see unfolding between Judas and Jesus. So for Judas, how does this happen? How does it even get to this place where someone's heart can be so dark as to betray a close friend? Well, one thing that's clear is that Judas didn't get caught up in a particular moment. He wasn't duped or tricked by the religious leaders. But really, this was a product of a series of choices that he had been making along the way. So this was long in coming. We see, for example, that he was a thief. He used to help himself to the money bag, we're told. In John chapter 12, we see an account where Judas, along with the other disciples, were present with Jesus when Mary, as in Mary and Martha from Bethany, she broke this bottle of perfume, really expensive perfume, and she put it on Jesus' feet as an act of worship. And Judas saw this and he said, why didn't we sell this? We could have actually gotten a lot of money from this to give to the poor. But John, parenthetically in his gospel, says, but he didn't do this because he actually cared about the poor. He did this because he was a thief and he used to help himself to the money purse. Of course, John said that in hindsight, and they didn't necessarily realize it at the time, but it gives us clues and insights into the fact that Judas apparently had a love for money. Kind of reminds me of what Paul writes to Timothy in 1 Timothy 6 when he says, for the love of money is the root of all kinds of evil. Some people, eager for money, have wandered from the faith and pierced themselves with many griefs. And you have to wonder if Paul even had Judas primarily in mind when he was writing this. The betrayal itself was clearly a premeditated plan on Judas's part. We see in Matthew 26, for example, Judas took the initiative to go to the chief priests and ask what would they give him if he was to betray Jesus into their hands. And they agreed to 30 pieces of silver, which equates in modern day to a couple hundred bucks. And then we're told from that point forward, he sought an opportunity to betray Jesus. We see that Judas meticulously planned when and where and how to do this. In John's Gospel in chapter 18, we learned he planned where this would take place. He knew that Jesus would be in the garden, for example, a place that would be isolated where it wouldn't be seen. And Judas knew this because he was in that inner circle of trust with Jesus' 12 disciples. He had been there many times before, and so he used this insight and knowledge to his advantage. He knew where he'd be able to find Jesus. We also learn when he would plan to do this, as he and the others came equipped with lanterns and torches, so they planned to do this under the cover of night. And just those details right there, that this was late at night, under the cover of darkness and isolation, that's never a good thing. That's typically a recipe for sin and for something that's not good that's about to take place. So it's exposing to Judas and the religious leaders in terms of where their hearts were at this point. Finally, we see how he planned to betray Jesus. We're told in Matthew 26:48, his betrayer, Judas, had given them, the crowd that was coming with him, a sign. "The one I kiss," he said, "he's the one, arrest him." As just kind of a brief aside, it might seem kind of strange to some of us that Judas would kiss Jesus at all, but that wasn't weird in that culture. In fact, in a lot of cultures, especially Eastern cultures and some South American cultures and probably other places, that's fairly normative today as an affectionate sign of greeting between two people, whether a man, a woman, a man, a woman, a woman. It'd be comparable to a warm handshake or a warm embrace in our own culture. But this meant it was incredibly ironic, and it was a sign of affection that Judas was using, of all things, to betray Jesus. So this really was an ultimate betrayal and just gives us insight into how far Judas had gone astray. But what's really startling is Jesus' response. And this is one thing that kind of captured my attention primarily, I think, when I was studying through this passage. He says to Judas, "Judas, would you betray the Son of Man with a kiss?" He confronts Judas with the twistedness and the evil of what it was he was about to do. It reminds me of, and maybe you can relate, if you've ever had a friend or family member, someone close to you who was just in a hard place and they were actually saying some things that just sounded kind of crazy to you, and you just stop them and you say, "Are you hearing what you're saying right now? Do you really mean this?" See, Jesus was saying this to Judas to hold a mirror of sorts in front of Judas so that he could consider what it was he was doing. It was one last-ditch effort on Jesus' part to shock Judas into realizing just how far he'd gone astray. Now, some of you might be thinking, yeah, but Jesus knew that this was going to happen. So wasn't that kind of an empty gesture? Jesus knew that the scriptures would have to be fulfilled, that there would be someone who would betray him. And at some point along the way in his journey with these disciples knew that it was even Judas. And yet, don't dehumanize Jesus. Remember that he was both fully God and fully man. We see Jesus do things like lament twice over Jerusalem, who he knew was headed on a pathway to destruction and had rejected him and wouldn't accept him. And yet he weeps over them. He has compassion upon them. We see Jesus moments before in the garden praying and pleading with God that if there was any other way for him to go about fulfilling God's will, to let that cup pass from him. Nevertheless, not his will, but God's be done. In this circumstance, in this scene, that was genuine mercy that Jesus was extending to Judas in hopes that he would repent. I think that there are two things that we can really learn from this scene, this exchange between Jesus and Judas. The first one is this: there is such a thing as a point of no return. And Judas found himself at that place. Through a series of choices that Judas had made, he had grown more and more calloused toward God in his soul. He had made a series of choices over and over again that kind of steamrolled his conscience and led him to the place where he wasn't able to discern the difference between right and wrong anymore. Paul in 1 Timothy 4 describes this as a seared conscience, the idea that your conscience can actually lose sensitivity and feeling permanently, cauterized, so that the nerve endings, you can't feel anything anymore. Judas had gotten to this place, and it's possible for that to happen when we continually make choices in an opposite direction that God would have us go. But we also see this, that it's clear that God pursues us to the very end. I mean, think about the lengths that Judas had already gone through to get to this point. I mean, he was in a dark place in his life. He had all but betrayed Jesus. The last thing he had to do is carry out this action, but he had betrayed him in his heart already. Yet even though Jesus knew what Judas was doing, his response was still one of mercy, one last effort to awaken Judas to his sin so that he would repent and turn back to God. There may even be some of you here today who feel like you've just gone way too far down a particular path for there to be any forgiveness for you. But if Jesus can be ready to extend forgiveness to Judas, the one who betrayed God, he can be ready to extend forgiveness to any of us, no matter where we are. And if you're experiencing sorrow for your sin toward God, and I want to distinguish here for a moment, there's a difference between godly sorrow and worldly sorrow. And what we see later on in some of the other gospel accounts is Judas had a worldly sorrow. He felt bad for what he had done, but it was a self-pity of sorts. We don't see the evidence of godly sorrow by him going to his disciples and asking for their forgiveness, going to Jesus and seeking his forgiveness, going to God and asking him for forgiveness. We don't ever see repentance in Judas. But if you have a brokenness of heart toward God for your sin, like David in Psalm 51 when he says, I've sinned against you and you alone, you first and foremost, God, then that is evidence of God's mercy in your life, him drawing you to himself so that you can know forgiveness and restoration with him. And if that's where you're at today, can I just encourage you, don't leave without sharing that with someone else, because it's when in community we share what's going on in our hearts and lives. God often uses that to cement what it is that he's doing, that when we share openly, it opens the way for healing in our life. So whether that be you staying afterwards today or during the next worship set, finding one of the pastors or someone else here and just confessing sin and sharing what's going on, or you know another Christian who, after leaving today, you can share this with, I want to encourage you to do that. Because any other believer is going to want to help you along this journey you're on, to help you in that process of healing and to pray with you. So what beliefs do you think informed Judas's plans here? What was underlying in his heart that would drive him to the place where he would make this series of choices and plans? But we don't know for sure is the answer to that. Why he betrayed Jesus, we don't know absolutely for sure. But there is speculation. We can kind of guess as to why that was. And some of the things that scholars think could have been the possible reason is maybe Jesus just wasn't who he thought he was. He'd grown disillusioned with this Jesus, the one who he'd hoped would be a revolutionary of sorts. And when he discovered he wasn't who he had expected or hoped him to be, he just figured, all right, well, at this point, what can I get out of this situation? Some scholars would speculate that perhaps he was jealous of the other disciples. And we see that there's bickering more than once in the Gospels between the disciples as to who they felt was the greatest. And perhaps he saw what he perceived as special treatment that Jesus gave to Peter, James, and John as Jesus prepared them for the ministry he would have, and Judas grew jealous of that. Also, another possibility, and maybe more likely just upon the evidence that we see, is that Judas had a real love for money that drove him to this place. Perhaps his underlying belief was that money could actually satisfy him more greatly than faithfulness and obedience to God. But if this is true, if you think about it, that's really sad. He did this for a couple of $100. And so it shows you how you can become so ensnared by sin that it causes you to act irrationally in what you'll do in your pursuit of it. What we learn from Judas is that sin is destructive, especially continued sin and continued rejection of God and the Spirit's promptings in our life, and can lead us down a path which runs completely contrary to God's. If Judas's detailed planning of this betrayal revealed something about the state of his heart, then Peter's reaction to the events that are unfolding reveals something about his level of maturity, I think. When the disciples see what's taking place, someone asks, "Should we strike with the sword? Should we fight for you, Jesus?" But before Jesus can even respond, Peter reacts, we're told in John's gospel, and cuts off the ear of the servant of the high priest. Typical Peter, right? I had to wonder to myself, just as a meaningless aside, whether we're not ever told who it was that asked the question of whether they should fight for Jesus, and I just hope for Peter's sake that he wasn't also the one that asked the question. Jesus, should we fight for you? All right, that's time enough. I'm going to cut off your ear now. But this is not unusual for Peter. It's in his nature. We see this before in places like on the Mount of Transfiguration, where Jesus had invited Peter, James, and John to join him. And they see Jesus and Moses and Elijah transfigured, illuminating before them as they have a discussion. And as Moses and Elijah are about to depart, we're told that Peter, not knowing what to say, suggests, "Jesus, why don't I set up 3 tents, one for you and one for Moses and one for Elijah?" And immediately at that point, a cloud comes over the top of the mountain and the Lord's voice comes out of it, probably in part rebuking Peter when he says, "This is my son, my chosen one. Listen to him." Perhaps when it comes to Peter and his impulsiveness, we might think of the scene in which Jesus was sharing with his disciples what he must do when he goes to Jerusalem, that he must suffer, that he must die, and then that he will rise from the dead. Peter doesn't want to hear it, and he pulls Jesus aside, and he says to him, "May this never be. I'm not going to let this happen to you, Jesus." And Jesus responds to him and says something to the effect of, "Peter, you're sounding a lot more like Satan than you are God right now." And perhaps you even would think to the passages we've talked through recently and the moments before this scene where Peter was confronted by Jesus about the fact that he would deny him 3 times in the coming hours. And Peter responds saying, "Jesus, I would never do this. I'm willing to go to prison for you. I'm willing to even die for you." And yet we know that Peter does ultimately end up denying Jesus. You see, we find him again and again reacting out of a shallow understanding of the truth. He finds himself in hard moments, and he hasn't conditioned himself to think rightly, so he ends up reacting wrongly. He's a man who operates with shallow convictions at times, and it shows. You know, it's interesting because when you think about it, it almost seems like Peter was willing to die for Jesus. When we look at his actions here in this scene, when we see him cut off the servant of the high priest's ear, he probably would have died by the retaliation of the soldiers who were there, or at least gone to prison. But his reason for his actions wasn't based in reality. It wasn't based upon the Jesus who would have to suffer. And so consequently, Peter's actions were foolish, not heroic. I think one thing that we see that can be a source of encouragement for us, just in terms of the growth of Peter when he's older and wiser in later years. He writes in 1 Peter 3, "It's better to suffer for doing the right thing than to suffer because of doing evil." And I have to wonder if Peter was even thinking back to this moment in his life. After all, Peter was about to suffer for his foolishness, if not for Jesus' intervention. And at the same time, Jesus was the one who was about to suffer for doing the ultimate good. How do you typically react when you find yourself in a pressure-filled, tense situation, difficult situation? Maybe somebody cuts you off while you're driving, or your workload increases unexpectedly at work. Someone questions your faith in Christ in kind of an obnoxious, rude way. Maybe you're blindsided by temptation, or maybe your kids are acting up and you feel like it's intentionally to get on your nerves. How do you tend to react in this situation, and why? Think about what are those underlying beliefs that cause you to react in that way. It can be revealing about what it is that we truly believe. So maybe if you're facing temptation and you find yourself quickly giving into that, why is that? Is it because we believe that maybe it was too much for us to resist and too much for us to bear? But God's word tells us that he won't let us be tempted beyond what our ability is, and that he'll always provide a way out for us. Or maybe it's not that, but as you believe that the sin will ultimately satisfy you more than obedience to Christ. But God tells us that sin will never deliver on its promises, but that he will. Just read Proverbs, it's clear. The word also tells us to taste and see that the Lord is good, Psalm 34. One of the psalmists declares, your love is better than life, Psalm 63. Another psalmist, in your presence is fullness of joy, Psalm 16. What is it that underlies your beliefs when you respond to temptation by giving in? Maybe it's a child misbehaves, and is your reaction one of anger? Why is that? Is it because we believe that our kids are intended for our happiness and they've just disrupted that? We probably wouldn't say that out loud, but maybe that's what is kind of underlying things. And certainly children are a blessing. God's word tells us that. But it also tells us that they're a gift from God, Psalm 127. And so as a gift, something that we've been entrusted with, and we're entrusted to care for them, right? We're told elsewhere in Philippians 2, we're to consider the interests of others more important than our own, and that our love for others is to be patient and selfless, 1 Corinthians 13. Why? Because we ourselves are daily recipients of God's love. What's the underlying beliefs that you have that cause you to react the way that you do with those who are closest to you? Or maybe your boss throws an extra project your way, and what's your response? Is your first reaction one of despair in that situation? Why? Is it because you believe that you won't have time to get everything done that you need to at work and now especially at home? But what does God's word say to us? It says we don't have to be anxious about anything, Philippians 4, because he daily bears our burden, Psalm 68. And in the case that maybe that job isn't sustainable, and maybe it's time to look elsewhere, he promises to give wisdom to all those who sincerely ask him, James 1:5. So how do you find yourselves reacting in pressure-filled, difficult situations? And what are the beliefs that inform those reactions? It's important that we understand that and what it is we believe that drives us to do the things that we do. I wonder what the beliefs were that informed Peter's reaction in this circumstance. Again, it's probably just speculation for us. I don't know if we know for sure, but possibly it was that he was still expecting Jesus to be more of a superhero figure who would conquer his enemies right then and there, rather than a savior that would have to suffer before he would conquer. Whatever it was, I think Peter is sincere. He's like many of us, you and me, who really want to follow after Jesus, want to do the right thing, but at times he was misguided. And in so doing, he sometimes was damaging to himself and those who were around him. There's some immaturity there in Peter. And for which of us is there not? We're all on this journey where we're growing more and more. But what we want to do is continue to grow so that when we find ourselves in difficult situations, we respond in a way that's more like Jesus than Peter or Judas. So what makes Jesus' response so different than Judas and Peter's? What we see is that he's constant and steady. Not just in this passage, but throughout the Gospels. Why? How is it that he's able to have this constancy and steadfastness in the midst of the evil that he's faced with? Well, his words and his actions, even in this passage, not to mention the rest of the Gospels, indicate a real confidence that he has in who God is and in what God has called him to do. A confidence in God's character and in God's will. He knew his Father. I'm sorry, guys. I just must have a really big, funky-shaped ear or something. He knew who his Father was. He knew that he loved him, that he was trustworthy, that he was powerful and in control, so that nothing could happen to him that would derail God's plan, even if it meant suffering at the hands of evil men. In Matthew chapter 26, after Peter had attacked the servant, Jesus says to him, "Do you think that I cannot call on my Father, and he will provide me at once with more than 12 legions, tens of thousands of angels?" Think of someone in your life that the first one that comes to mind when I say, who can you count on? Somebody who, when you need to get something done, you go to this person, or when you ask them to be someplace, you can count on the fact that they're going to be there. And when they're not, when they don't get the thing done or they're not there, there's always a really, really good explanation for that. Someone that you can count on. Jesus' peace comes from knowing he can count on his Father. And the thing is, God isn't subject to things like humans are, like forgetfulness and fatigue and mood swings and bad days. How did Jesus come to know this? Well, we run into that tension again, the fact that he was fully divine but also fully human. And the fact that he was also fully a man meant that he had to learn just like the rest of us. And I concede that there's mystery there. But in the rare glimpses that we get in the Gospels into his childhood, we see that from a young age, he was eager to learn and to grow in his understanding of God and his word. We read in places like Luke 2:52 that Jesus grew in wisdom and in stature and in favor with God and man. So he studied the scriptures just like we have to. He knew passages like Psalm 121. I lift up my eyes to the hills. From where does my help come? My help comes from the Lord who made heaven and earth. He will not let your foot be moved. He who keeps you will not slumber. He's familiar with passages like Psalm 3:3. You, O Lord, are a shield about me. And Psalm 91:11. For he will command his angels concerning you to guard you in all your ways. Probably a passage that Jesus had in the forefront of his mind as he responded to Peter. It comes through in Jesus' own teaching as well. Places like Matthew 10, where he says to his disciples, and do not fear those who kill the body, but cannot kill the soul, man. Rather, fear him who can destroy both soul and body in hell. Are not two sparrows sold for a penny? And yet not one of them will fall to the ground apart from your Father. Jesus wasn't worried that God had forgotten to show up and intervene. He knew his God well enough to know that even in the midst of these evil circumstances, he wasn't alone. So his response of steadfastness came from knowing his God, but it also came from knowing and trusting what God's will was for him. Jesus knew the will of God for him, and this helped him to remain steadfast as well. Throughout the parallel accounts of this story and the other Gospels, we see this especially clearly. For example, in John 18, we're told in that scene that Jesus knew everything that was about to happen to him. And later in that passage, as he asks Peter, am I not to drink the cup that the Father has given me? Similarly, in Matthew 26, he says to Peter, after Peter had reacted by cutting off the servant's ear, how then would the scriptures be fulfilled that say it must happen this way? And then in our own passage today, in Luke 22, just beforehand, Jesus had said to the crowd, I taught day after day in the temple, and I was teaching in the open. I didn't have anything to hide, and yet the irony is, here are you coming in the darkness and isolation to arrest me. What's going on with this? But this is your hour and the power of darkness. Jesus knew this was God's will. He was able to say these things with confidence because he knew the Old Testament prophecies and what they prophesied about himself. He says in John 13, he actually quotes one of them and quotes it from Psalm 41:9 about his betrayal. He says, even my close friend in whom I trusted, who ate my bread, he has turned against me. We know that Jesus was familiar with Isaiah 53, the passage about the suffering servant. He knew his suffering and the death that he was about to undergo. And because he understood what was to come, none of this took him by surprise, and it shows. Because of his confidence in God's character and will, nothing could deter him from the path that was before him. Not anger at the betrayal of a close friend, not the misguided efforts of his disciples to try to defend him in that moment, not the sorrow and suffering that he knew awaited him. Jesus knew that suffering would precede his glory. He knew he had that glory to look forward to of returning to be with his Father. He also knew that suffering would make a way for salvation for you and I. And both of these things brought him joy, we're told in Hebrews 12, where for the joy that was set before Jesus, he endured the cross. So what can we draw from what we see in Jesus' response that can help us on our own journeys? Of course, Jesus, he was perfect and the only one to live perfectly. Yet he was fully human, and he underwent the same temptations and difficulties and trials that many of us do. And so we can look to him and learn from him. And I think this is what we see in part anyway. The wise psalmist in Psalm 119 writes, I have hidden your word in my heart that I might not sin against you. And who do we better see this lived out by than Jesus? That idea of hiding or storing up God's word in your heart, elsewhere translated as treasuring God's word in your heart, it's more than just a general awareness of things the Bible teaches. It's more even than just memorization of Scripture. It's at least those things, right? Because in order to believe, we have to first know what the truth even says. But it becomes truly stored inside of us, truly hidden in us when we ponder it, and especially when we resolve to believe it in the crucible of life. So, for example, when faced with that temptation and whether you're going to give in, and if you, rather than believing that it will satisfy and caving to that, maybe it looks like you saying, God, right now I just feel weak. I feel like this is going to satisfy a part of my heart, and I know that it'll probably be pleasurable for a moment. But I know that your word also says there's a way that seems right to a man, but its way is the end to death. And I know that your word says your love is better than life, that in your presence is fullness of joy, and at your right hand are pleasures forevermore. I know that your word teaches me that I will never be tempted beyond what I can handle, but that you always provide a way out for me. So God, would you show me now what that way out is? Or maybe when you're faced with that responsibility that just feels overwhelming to you, rather than believing that you'll be crushed by it, it looks like acknowledging to God, I can't do this on my own. I don't want to do this. Lord, I feel crushed under the weight of this, but I know that your word teaches me I don't have to be anxious about anything, to cast my cares upon you because you care about me, that I can run to you when I'm weary and find rest for my soul, and that if I lack wisdom, to ask you, God, because you'll give generously. So Lord, would you bear this burden now, and would you give me the wisdom to see if there's another path you'd have me take? Maybe if our family or our friends are pushing us to the limit, rather than believing that we can't be happy without their approval or cooperation, it looks like just acknowledging to God, God, I have no capacity right now to love this person. But I know that says more about me than it does them. God, help me to remember that Jesus came not to be served, but to serve. And I was a beneficiary of that. I was a recipient of that. So Lord, even as he laid down his life for me, help me to lay down my life for this person. Give me the strength to do so. Help me to believe that it's more blessed to give than to receive, God. It's not easy. We're going to stumble along the way. But as our men's retreat speaker said a couple of years ago, and I think this is stuck with a lot of the guys, discipleship often looks like a long obedience in the same direction, right? Or as another pastor put it, and I like this, transformation doesn't happen in a microwave. It's a slow, deliberate process. But the way that we avoid taking the path of Judas, the way in which we learn to respond like Jesus rather than react like Peter does, the way of steadfastness in the face of evil comes from knowing God, knowing his will, and learning to hide what is true and right and good in your hearts. Amen? I'm going to invite the band to come back forward. We'll continue our worship by celebrating communion together and worshiping with a few more songs. And during this time, I want to encourage us, be thankful in light of what God has revealed of himself in this passage. The fact that he is steadfast, Jesus is steadfast. And when faced with his arrest and suffering, he didn't react rashly. He didn't deviate from God's plan. But out of his love for the Father, his love for you and me, he persevered to the end. We can be thankful for the fact of Jesus' mercy, who when faced with the betrayal of a close friend, was ready and willing to extend forgiveness to him. So when we celebrate communion now, we remember the obedience of Jesus, which took him to the cross, where his body was broken for us. His blood was shed for the forgiveness of our sins, so that we could be reconciled with the Father. And if that's what you believe, then you are welcome to participate in this celebration. If you're a disciple of Christ, then you are welcome to celebrate communion with us. And maybe for some of you, today is that first day where you're just realizing, yeah, I do need the Lord Jesus Christ in my life, and I do need his forgiveness. And I hadn't realized that his mercy could be for someone like me who's gone so far astray, so far down this path. And if that's you, you are welcome to participate in communion as well. I'd also encourage you to share that with someone today, a pastor, a leader, or someone else you may know here before you leave. You'll have a couple of songs for those of you who are unfamiliar to come forward, to take a piece of the broken matzah and to dip that into the wine or the juice. And take the time during these songs, maybe for some of us it's confession, where we really just need to confess to the Lord the brokenness inside of us that we thought was beyond repair. Maybe it means confessing to someone else who is here. And for others of us, take this time to worship in light of whatever God has revealed to you from his word through this time. Would you pray with me? Father of mercy, Lord, I thank you that you are a steadfast Savior. that your Son didn't deviate from the plan, but persevered, Father, where we would have failed. I thank you that you pursue us to the end, God. I thank you that the lengths that you go to retrieve us when we've gone astray. I thank you for your mercy. And Father, we know that there are pieces of ourselves that are broken. Pieces of ourselves where, Lord, we have sinned against you. So we come before you. We ask your forgiveness for these things. And Father, we claim the promise of your word that teaches us that when we confess our sins, you're faithful and you're just to forgive us of our sins and to cleanse us from all unrighteousness. So, Lord, we ask for your help in our weakness to trust you and your word when we hit those crossroads of life where we may have failed before. Help us to say, yes, Lord, and so see your faithfulness as we seek to hide your word in our hearts. We pray for your help in these things, Lord, and we ask them in Jesus' name. Amen.